Hello students, how are you? I hope you all are fine and staying home to keep yourself safe from COVID-19. Students, in the previous module in this chapter Colonialism, Rural and Tribal Societies, we discussed about the land revenue system implemented by Britishers in India. So ahead to that topic, some more things we'll discuss in this module. Let us begin students. Growth of commercial crops. As the Britishers implemented the land revenue system and everything was done in the favor of Britain to use the resources for development of Britain. So that way they introduced commercial crops with the strong footholds in South India, Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. The East India Company wanted to collect maximum tax to meet their military and administrative expenses. They also wanted to gain maximum profit. So the company started using coercive method to procure goods which were in great demand in Europe. And motive was there to get the raw material, to get the agricultural produce from India and sell it in the European countries and get the benefits in the form of profit and feed the military, British military, East India Company military. The agricultural raw material was purchased at very low rate and sent to England, and that was processed in their different industries. The finished goods were brought back to India and sold at very high price to earn more profit. So this way they were using India to flourish in all the way. They were using India's resources to flourish Britain in all the ways, getting raw material at cheap rate from India and selling it again back to India after processing in England and get a very high profit. The company forced the farmers to grow cash crops. Cash crop students that are which give very high price in the market. Generally at present we think cash crops are those crops which are mainly grown for selling in the market, that are not for self consumption and not for food requirement. So here examples are indigo, cotton, opium, paper, tea, sugarcane, etc., and compel them to raise silkworm for the production of raw silk. So this way all these commercial crops were grown by the Indian farmers forcefully. The Britishers wanted to smuggle student concept is smuggle is related to illegal trade of something. So wanted to smuggle and sell opium to China so that they could earn huge profits. Similarly, indigo, called ni in Hindi, was actually it is Neel, not ni. Spelling error is there. This is Neel. Was in great demand in the textile industries of Britain, and indigo it was believed that once we grow the indigo in a field, the field starts getting unfertile day by day, year after year. The peasants were forced to cultivate indigo plants to extract blue dye. They led miserable life as it faced very low price of indigo. Actually, this was raw material, so it was having very low price for the farmer, and that way they were getting very low prices when they sell it to Britishers. And Britishers already providing very low prices as they were knowing that they were only the buyer. There was a monopoly in that trade activity. So this way the Indians were getting very low prices for their product. The rising demand of sugar in the West attracted many Europeans to set up sugar plantation in India. So as slowly the sugar was getting popularity, and that way attracted many Europeans to set up sugar plantation in India, and that the farmers who produced gur, jaggery for local requirements were now forced to produce thickened sugar cane juice for the sugar factories, because the same sugar juice is used to make gur or sugar, and that way it sell their produce at very low price, means farmers were bound to sell their goods, that thickened sugarcane juice. You can say that uh, after boiling that sugarcane juice, that sugarcane juice becomes thickened, thick, and then that was sold to the sugar industry, sugar factories, because afterward the processing was getting very less time and less cost. So this way, this was beneficial for the sugar factories and huge loss for the Indian farmers. The British industries flourished at the cost of Indian industries, means whatever development was taken place in the British industries, that was on the cost of Indian industry, because they destroyed the Indian industries. They stopped the supply of the raw material for the Indian industries, and this way they destroyed all the way the Indian industry, and then afterward they get the market for their own British industries in India and getting raw material from India. So that was the main reason behind this development. Hence are some commercial crops and the places where they were cultivated. Here we are discussing some commercial crops. Opium. This was grown in Bihar, Bengal, and Punjab areas. Indigo. This was grown in Bihar, Bengal. Cotton. Gujarat, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh. Tea was grown in Assam, West Bengal, and South India, that are also near that hilly region, because tea is a such kind of plant which needs continuous supply of water but no stagnation of water required. So generally it is grown on slope areas. Then pepper. Pepper is that black pepper is there. Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andaman and Nicobar Island, and Pondicherry. Now it is known as the Puducherry. Then sugarcane, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Punjab, and Haryana. So in these different states, the sugarcane was grown. So these were some commercial crops grown during the British period, and these were forcefully grown by the Britishers and grown by the Indian farmers. Condition of the farmers after growing these kinds of commercial crops. What was the condition of the farmer in the British period? If you talk about the commercial farming at present, this commercial farming is very good for the development of farmers. But what was the condition of the farmer during the British period? Already suffering from natural calamities like flood, drought, and famine, Indian farmers were further overburdened with high taxes, repayment of loan, debt, and high rate of interest charged by the moneylenders, traders. They were leading a life of misery. A very petty condition was there of their life. Poverty and frustration was very high. As a result, many peasants who failed to pay the land revenue lost their land, as the policy of eviction was followed by the Britishers. If the people were not able to pay the taxes, the land was taken by the Britishers or landlords and became landless laborers. So they were forced to work at very low wages when they started to work as laborer. So they were also getting very low wage. Whenever atrocities, repression, and exploitation reached beyond a certain limit, there was a mass outburst in the form of revolt or rebellion. Whenever such thing happens that you suppress someone up to a very high extent, there is revolt possibility. As you bend a bamboo stick beyond a certain limit, it will be broken. Similarly, with the people also, the people can be suppressed up to a certain limit. If this will increase from beyond the certain limit, then of course there will be some revolt. And there was a long list of injustices meted out to the farmer at various times during the British rule, and some of these were as follows. Land revenue settlements and their administration was not in the favor of farmers, as we have discussed in the previous module already. Economic exploitation in the form of high taxes, especially of the rural masses. Long-standing loans and indebtedness. This was also existing because the farmers had to pay taxes even if they are not able to produce the crop. Even if they lost the crop due to any kind of natural calamity like flood, drought, or fire. Eviction of peasants from land led them to become landless laborers, as if the farmers were peasants, that small farmers were not able to pay the taxes, the land was taken back by the Britishers. So these causes resulted in revolts, outbreaks, and rebellion even before the first war of independence in 1857. Means before this 1857, which is termed as a first war of independence, struggle for freedom. Before this also, many times revolt took place. It was only in 1930 that organization of Kisan Sabhas started supporting the cause of peasants. So you can understand how late such kind of unions could be formed. Here some more facts given as do you know the Ryots of Bengal refused to grow indigo. That farmers, the cultivators of Bengal, refused to grow indigo and a rebellion broke out. Means a protest broke out in 1859 known as Blue Rebel. Moflas of South India revolted against increasing burden of taxation in 1860s and 1870s. The Deccan Riots turned violent in 1875 due to rural indebtedness. The peasant movement of Champaran in northwest Bihar started in 1860 and went on till 1920s. So such kind of movements, such kind of protest continued at different times. The peasants opposed cultivation of indigo and high taxes. Another thing, the Pratapgarh, Raebareli, Sultanpur, Faizabad in Uttar Pradesh witnessed opposition by the farmers against high revenue. The Awadh Kisan Sabha was formed under the leadership of Jawaharlal Nehru in 1920. So very late it was. Increase in revenue was opposed by farmer of Tanjore in 1923. The first youth association was organized by N.G. Ranga in 1923. Means you can understand here these different types of unions started to be formed after 1920 because after first war of independence slowly India was started uniting, and that way afterward the people started to revolt by forming some unions. And before this period or before in 1857 it was just fight for their own interest, and that is why that first war of independence failed also. We'll study in different means next chapters. The Kisan movement in Uttar Pradesh demanded the abolition of Jamindari system. So this was demanded. Whether it was fulfilled or not, that we'll see afterward. In 1927, Bardoli Sardar Patel opposed the increase in revenue by Bombay Presidency. Satyagraha forced the government to revise the revenue. The peasants of Kheda opposed the revenue rise. So this way you can see here how different places the farmer revolted, the farmer union were formed. to favor the Indian farmers. And you can understand how much exploitation was there of the Indian farmer during the British period. And that only resulted the revolt against the Britishers. We'll see in the next module. So this was all about for today, students. We'll meet in the next module with some more topics about the tribals also we'll discuss in next topic. So till then, revise the topics discussed today. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye all of you students.